Welcome to USSO's Eyes on Events. This week we're speaking to Liz Barnes, who is organising Zoom into BrANCH 2020.
Yeah, so this year we're hosting a virtual conference in place of our usual in-person conference that would have been at Madingley Hall, and this is the BrANCH annual conference. So we've moved away from the traditional papers panel structure because of our own, as a committee, this isn't all me, I want to stress, our own experiences of online events. We felt that they had their place, but they weren't necessarily as engaging, and we also felt that it was a lot of pressure on people's time when it came down to it, that not everyone had the time, especially given people's caring responsibilities. Not everyone had the time over a weekend to just sit down to several panels. So it's pre-circulated papers. We're having 4 workshops over the course of the weekend. So it is our annual conference, but it's very different to what we're used to seeing.
Great. So how is it different to ones that you've managed before? For instance, I noticed that it was free and that there was a call to donate for a charity rather than signing up.
Yeah, so that's probably the biggest thing. And I think as small organisations, probably one of our biggest concerns actually is that fundamentally, certainly BrANCH, I can't speak for the other Americanist organisations in the UK, but certainly BrANCH makes a large portion of the money that we use to fund postgraduates particularly. We make that at our annual conferences, which is why we've put that call in there for donations, because we will see a bit of a shortfall from having moved online this year. But yeah, one of the key things is this is free. We often have a lot of American colleagues who join us at BrANCH, but we recognise that it's obviously incredibly expensive to fly over to the UK for these kind of events. So we're hoping it will be slightly more international. It's much more interactive in the sense that we're doing these pre-circulated papers rather than just 20-minute presentations. I think because of the format that we've chosen, it's also skewed towards more junior colleagues, which is quite nice. I'm looking forward to that. And it's also much smaller. So it's going to be more intimate in terms of the amount of people attending each session, but also we only have the 4 papers this year, and we're very fortunate in that we've got 4 people who are all offering fantastic papers, but also that spread across the whole of BrANCH's remit. So we've got an early American, an antebellum, Civil War, and then a late 19th century.
Great. How have you responded to the challenge of organising a remote conference?
Well, it's been difficult. I think the main challenge is one of accessibility. And we were certainly conscious of not wanting to take up too much of people's time, especially over a weekend in a term that we know is going to be exhausting for people. And especially for people who are also have picked up a lot of the care and responsibility for children and loved ones with the shortfall from outside care during lockdown. And so one of the things we did was to split it into these discrete sessions so that each paper is its own session. You don't register to come to the whole conference. You pick the one that works for you, the one that you're most interested in, and that's what you come along to. We also had to respond to basically a bit of Zoom fatigue, which I think we've all gotten over a bit now, but certainly when we were planning this, everyone was a bit fed up of Zoom drinks and Zoom meetings and Zoom quizzes and Zoom seminars. So again, we thought about just keep it short, and equally with the pre-circulated element, if people just can't face coming to a meeting that day, they can get in touch with the presenters themselves, give feedback on the papers, have a chat about the papers, make those connections without needing to be in the room, or rather the virtual room. The other kind of key thing we were concerned about is that I think, as we all know, that the main thing about conferences is not necessarily the work that's being presented. We really use conferences as our main kind of networking space and social space, and you can't replicate that in the online environment very easily. But I know that our wonderful postgrad reps, Aisha and Ian, have organised a drinks meeting, essentially like a kind of almost like being at the pub but virtually, for postgrads. It's more broadly Americanist. I know they've done it with Bass, possibly Hot, I'm not sure if they're involved, on the 30th of October. So that was one of our key concerns, and my concern especially, I'm only just out of the PhD myself, was for new PhDs. I went on my own to my first BrANCH. I didn't think I was going to know anyone, although luckily I ran into a couple of people that I'd met in my previous degrees. But people who are new to the field are really being denied quite a good space to meet people, to get to know fellow Americanists. So I'm glad that they've organised that off the back of a very successful summer actually of postgrad workshops organised by Ian Flood and Andrew Short and Gareth Davis, our PGR and ECR reps. So that's essentially what the main problems that we found. And I hope we've responded well. I don't think any event's ever going to be perfect, but It's, to be honest, it's much easier than it would have been for me organising the one at Madingley. So there's far fewer logistics involved in having a few online workshops. I don't have to worry about forgetting anyone's sandwich or anything. So.
Okay, and so is there anything you're particularly looking forward to in the upcoming conference?
I'm looking forward to the papers. I'm actually quite glad that I'm in the position of being kind of conference secretary. I'll be forced to read all 4, but it's so nice to, again, one of the best parts of conferences, being exposed to work beyond your own field, work that you wouldn't normally pick up. And I'm really looking forward to getting involved in all the sessions and reading all those papers. I'm also really looking forward to us all getting together as a group. Obviously, I've seen a lot of my fellow BrANCH members at various events this summer, and occasionally round and about if they've been, if anyone's been passing through Reading. But we're quite a small community, Americanists in the UK more broadly, but certainly the BrANCH community. And I think it's just going to be so nice to have, the real stalwarts together in a room again, just so we can talk all things 19th century American history. I genuinely don't think there's another space quite like it in the UK for us. So I'm really looking forward to that, for us all being together again in a room of sorts. What I would say is I've really enjoyed so many of the online events that people have been organising this summer. I think, so Ox's carried on their regular sessions. That's the Early American Republic seminar series that's run at the University of Oxford by Grace Mallon. Really, really great. And Hotkus have run some interesting events. I know they did the seminar about the urgent past. I know because I did it, but I think that was a really enriching event. And equally, Bass have run several different panels and sessions, some of them kind of research-led, some of them more about professional experiences and networking. I think they've all been really, really valuable. I think that the Americanist community broadly has done quite well. So I'm looking forward to putting together BrANCH's particular contribution and adding to the great postgraduate offering that we've already had this summer.
Great. So Zoom into BrANCH 2020 is happening on Saturday the 10th to Sunday the 11th of October. Thank you so much, Liz, for speaking with me.
No, that's okay. Thank you.